Okay, what's up guys? This is Synth Media and I'm going to make a video, quick introduction to pure data, or something we're going to call per data. What is pure data? Pure data is free software, open source piece of software for creating your own synthesizers or audio applications. It's, if you've heard of it, it's a bit like Max, which nowadays is more well known as part of Ableton. It's called Max for Live. The guy that wrote that ended up writing a second version of, I mean, he wrote the original of Max for Live. He's not involved in Max anymore, but he is now writing a free software open source version, which is called Pure Data. And Per Data is a slight variation, it's a fork of that, and it's got a slightly nicer user interface. So if you want Per Data in Windows, this is the site to go to, agraf.github.io Per Data. I'll put a link in the description. And when you download it, you're going to get, well, I'll show you what you're going to get. Start it up. You're going to get something that looks like this. Bit geeky, but this channel, we're not afraid of geeky stuff. So I'm going to give you a really basic introduction today, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how you might use this in conjunction with FL Studio. A lot of people use this separately. A lot of people are doing art projects. A lot of people are using it to build their own more sophisticated synthesizers. But I want to show you how easy it is to just use it to make something of your own. Let's get started. When you open Per Data, you get a kind of canvas on which you can draw various components. It's a bit like modular synthesis. It's a bit like Patcher in FL Studio. It's a little bit lower level than that. And let me show you what it looks like. Here's your canvas. You can put what they call objects on the canvas, and the first object you really need is something called, and you're going to type the name of these objects. It's called DAC with a little tilde at the end. What does that mean? Well, DAC stands for digital to audio converter, and that's basically the output jack of this thing you're going to make. If you don't have a DAC in your thing, you won't hear any sound coming out because you need an output jack. We're building a kind of virtual synthesizer here, and the first thing you really need is to have the output. Okay, and the next thing we're going to need is an oscillator. And there's a simple oscillator called OSC with a little tilde on the end. I'll explain that in a second. And if we put that in, and we just take, so these two little things at the top are what we call inputs, and the thing at the bottom is where the outputs. There may be more than one input, more than 2, 3 inputs, there may be more than one output. The oscillators has got a single output, and we just drag from there to the inputs to the DAC, and we should now have an oscillator producing a sound. We don't know what frequency it's going to put out yet, so let's put another object which is a number box, and we're going to connect that to the input there, and this number box is literally going to be the frequency of the signal. And you can see I can like drag the number up and down. So let's just make it standard sort of thing, 440 hertz. That's a 440 hertz, like that. Okay, so where's the sound going to do? I'm setting this up. I'm going to edit. You see the edit menu here. I go to the preferences. I've set the sound to go to voice meter. What's voice meter? Voice meter is a separate application I've got installed here. It's getting quite popular now, and it effectively is somewhere where we can. It's like a little mixing desk for all the applications on your computer. You can get it from this site here, vbaudio.com, this software site. It's free download. Obviously, if you use it a lot, they'd like some donations, and they probably deserve some donations. So if you go there, download this. I'll put this link in the description as well, and you will get this quite nice looking mixing desk now, which Windows really needs. As you can see, I've got my mic coming in on this. FL Studio is going out here. This is how I mix all the sounds together. So let's get back to pure data, or the per data version as we know it. Just notice that the output device here is the voice meter. So that's all right then. And we'll go to this. So we'll now send the media. Be careful, this is going to get loud, I think. Actually, it's not loud at all, is it? Quite the opposite. I don't know if you can hear that. I've got it really quiet. I know why that is. It's because I actually turned down the... But let me turn this back up, and you can hear now it's quite loud. Well, you know, you can hear it's a pitch, 440 hertz. So that literally is our first, most basic synthesizer. An oscillator at a frequency. In order this pure data to go in and out of the edit mode, I just do Control E. You'll see the edit mode, it kind of looks like this graph paper, and you can start dragging stuff around. So let's add a new object at this point. Let's put the horizontal slider. Horizontal slider, we don't want that coming now. We want that. The output of that going into this number box, come out of the edit mode, and now you'll see, as you drag that slider backwards and forwards, okay, but if we look in the slider here, in the properties, we'll see the minimum of the slider is 0 and the maximum 127. That's because they're thinking of it for controlling MIDI notes, but for the moment I'll just put 10,000 there. So this is just hertz now. Now you'll see, go back. Now you'll see we just have to drag that backwards and forwards. Perhaps 10,000 is a bit much, isn't it? Let's put that down to 2,000. So, our very first synthesizer you may realise that this oscillator is a sine wave. We can change that. We can use another object, not called OSC, but called phaser. And phaser is more like a square wave. Not square wave, no, square wave, no, sine wave. Blah, sawtooth. It's still high, isn't it? So suppose we want like a 2 oscillator synth. Well, it's easy enough. We just have to say, put another object that's also a phaser. Put that in there. I'm going to feed that. Okay, so I want that to be slightly detuned. So I'm going to take the frequency out of here and I'm going to put it into that phaser. And in fact, I'm also going to break these because I'm going to mix them all together somewhere. I'm going to put another number box here. No, I'm not going to put a number box. I'm just going to put a... You'll see what this does in a second. Okay, so I'm going to do one thing at a time. Let's put a volume control on this. So that, I'm just going to make it bigger. Maybe this phaser is here, slider there. That thing is a multiplies. Let me tell you why these things got tildes on the end. When it's got a tilde on the end of the name of the object, what that means is that it's an audio signal. It's like an audio frequency signal. And so that tilde looks like a little like oscillating type sine wave thing. So to make a volume control, you know, like a simple amplifier, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the signal that comes out of the phaser and I'm going to multiply it by a number. Let's say I multiply it by 0.5, for example. Now it's only half the volume. Let me... You can see if I multiply it by 0.25, it's only a quarter of the volume. Okay, so this box, this object, it's literally just multiplication. Now, like in a lot of programming computer languages, it's an asterisk, the star means multiply. But because what we're multiplying is an audio signal, it's called star tilde, right? Then put space, and then we put, what are we multiplying it by? Well, okay, in that case it's 0.25, but that's not very useful. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put in a new slider here, and we're going to say this goes between 0 and 1, and this is going to be our volume control. So we stick this into that, and now you'll see that, in fact, let me just get rid of that. We don't want that. That's confusing because we want to delete that now. But what we will do is we will delete that. We'll get a number box. We'll put a number in here. That's going to be fed by that, and that is going to come out into that. And now we'll see that has become our volume control, because the more we put it up, it puts this number up. As you can see, this is still obviously our frequency. Okay, let's turn that down for a second. So that is what happens in pure data, and we will now see how we can stick a new phaser, second phaser, going into that same thing. It's going to be fed by that frequency, but we want to just slightly offset it. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a new object here. For some reason now it likes to automatically connect things, doesn't it? This object is just literally going to be multiplied by 0.999. So notice at this point we're not working on audio signals. This here is not an audio signal. This is just a control signal, as we call it. This signal is like a value which changes when you change the knob. It's like MIDI CC, like control. It's like turning the knob on your synthesizer. It's not something that's changing 44,000 times a second or something like, you know, a CD frequency. It's not an audio frequency signal. So this multiply here doesn't need the tilde on the end. It only needs to be multiplying at control speed. But we're going to take that number, that's that frequency, 220 whatever, We're going to multiply it by 0.999, so we're going to get a slightly different frequency, and we're going to tilt that into the second phaser. So now we've got one phaser, one sawtooth, going at that frequency, and we got this one almost the same frequency, but just a little bit offset. So we got, and then the two of them come together into this multiplication, get multiplied by the volume, come out to the DAC. So let's see what that's like now. So let's put the volume up now. Now you can hear phasing between these two things, right? You can hear that they're playing same shape waves, but slightly different. One is slightly offset from the other. Maybe I can make it a little bit more offset there. So you can hear them beating against each other. They're you know, we're making a 2-oscillator voice at this point, right? Well, you know, we can go on. We could do it again. We can put in another box. No, sorry, not another box. Don't need that. We can put in another object, which is going to be multiplied by 1.01 or 01, and we'll put in a new phaser, a new object, which is a phaser. Remember, the phaser is an audio thing, so it's also going to connect there, and it's also going to take that. So now we've got 3 oscillators. So we're sort of building up on our chunkier super saw type voice here. And you can start to hear. So that is our very, very basic first synthesizer in pure data. Right, so what can we do with this with FL Studio? Well, the magic here partly depends on this voice meter. So if you're going to try doing this, I highly recommend, we're in Windows here, in Mac there's another way of doing it, but I highly recommend using this voice meter. And what I will do now is I'm going to start up FL Studio. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to bring in something from elsewhere. I just have to note that at this point my voice is going to go totally echoey. So I'm going to tell you first, because my voice is going to get distorted now. I'm going to set insert 1. I'm going to take it from the standard input, which I've got set up to being this again, and this is getting its feed from Pure Data, the Pure Data synth, right? So once I'm in here, I'm going to put an Edison on this so we can start recording, and you watch, we're going to get that coming in from Pure Data. So here we go. Edison, records, and you can see. Back to Pure Data. Change the frequency. Okay, so as you can see, we got some nice sounds here in Edison. What have we got? Well, we got from something like this. Let me get rid of that now. And now I'm not going to save it. I know how to build those. So that was really quick. That was a really simple Pure Data thing. At this point, all we're doing is we're capturing the sound into FL Studio, into Edison, where we can start to use it in the usual way. What could I do with this? Well, for example, I might take that and just drag it into the playlist. Let me hit that. I'll normalize it. And, you know, I might start to drag it out a bit here. And I might start to put some effects on it. I mean, okay, always good to put one of those on. And let me put a bit of a chorus. No, we won't do anything crazy yet. Let's just hear what we're going to do. In fact, I wasn't expecting that, but you can hear there is a slight weird rhythmic element there, isn't there? I like that da da at the end. You know, can we use that for something? Let's pull this back down a bit. Slow speed, 110. What might we do? That's pretty good. Didn't need to do that. It's now, of course, very loud. I'm just playing now, right? You know, I'm not here now to demonstrate anything more. I've got an inspiration. I've got something that somebody outside shouting. I don't know if the mic's picking that up. Put a bit of shift on that. So here's the point. 5 minutes playing in Pure Data, for example, and we got a sound that you wouldn't have come up with in any other synth, right? You wouldn't have decided to make that. It's even got a little bit of a melody. We could perhaps experiment a bit, couldn't we? Bit of reverb. Even a bit of delay. How would that sound? I'll just sidechain that. sidechain to this track here. There we go. Now we're in here. Am I doing this the right way? Alright, so you know, I'm just playing, I'm just not doing anything at all very serious at this point. I'm just making beats now. But like I say, you know, we spent a couple of minutes pure data, per data, and we made something. We made something that's ours, we made something that's got a bit of a vibe, and that's it, you know, but now we can go. Now we've gotten some inspiration. So I'm going to come back and we're going to do some more videos. We're going to do some more videos on this pure data, on per data, tell you a bit more about how to do certain things with it. I just wanted to literally get the idea out there today. You can get that, download it, install it, start reading some documentation. But you know, we can have some fun, and I'm going to come back with some more stuff. Right, I'm out. Synth Media. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned, subscribe, because really there's going to be lots more. It's going to get geeky this year, but there's going to be some good stuff.